For those of you who don't know Drayton, he is the reason, a main reason why I'm here today, why every one of our experts is here today. Without Drayton, there probably wouldn't have been a Gary Bencivenga. There probably wouldn't have been a David Deutsch. Drayton's influence on Ogilvy Mather and turning that great agency into a direct response agency, even in their institutional ads, they were employing direct response copy techniques, and that's all due to Drayton Bird. He called me on the phone. I didn't know who he was. I had to ask one of my juniors, who the heck is Drayton Bird? And he told me, well, he was David Ogilvy's partner and vice chairman of Ogilvy Mather. He owned the first direct response agency in Europe. And Ogilvy bought that agency and made Drayton his vice chairman. He's the only copywriter I know who has a distinction of being stabbed nearly to death by his own wife. But once you get to know Drayton, you'll understand why.
People that don't know Drayton can easily look into his record, pioneer of direct response in the UK, his affiliation with David Ogilvy and Ogilvy and Mather during their rapid growth period around the world, and the role that Drayton played in that, his client work, his education work. Because of the platform I had as a system seminar, I was able to get him involved in speaking at my events, which was a great thing. And it's very interesting that the talks that Drayton gave at the system would be as applicable today as they were when he first gave them. And that's not true about 90% of our talks. Things change, technologies change, platforms change. But his talk was as useful then as it is today, and will be equally useful 100 years from now. And that's fairly rare in any field.
It must be 30 years ago, almost to the day, since you came into the research centre and said, "You don't look very happy, young man. Do you want to be a writer?" It was a watershed moment for me and changed my life. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't made that intervention, but pretty much everything that has come subsequently is down to you. Thank you so much.
And the first time I saw Drayton, it was one of Ken McCarthy's seminars, and Drayton began doing his magical thing. And if you've ever watched him in action and seen what he does, it's an art form, and there's a very particular way that he does it. He was using lump email in his own unique way, and describing these campaigns he put together with this beautifully crafted copy and superbly integrated ideas. And then a while after that, I had a chance to actually have Drayton at one of my seminars, and it was a real pleasure. And it's a pleasure to have worked with one of the greats in the business. And Drayton, you've left a legacy that will last, probably as long as direct marketing exists. People be reading about you and hearing about you, and I'm just really proud to have worked with you. And
like many people, I think most of my memories of Drayton seem to involve the consumption of copious amounts of alcohol, so they're not that easy to recall. But what I do know is the impact he's made on me and my business. In particular, Drayton was really the first person to demonstrate that good direct marketing could be intelligent, it could be charming, and it applies equally as well to professional businesses as it does to consumer businesses. And that has made a huge difference for me. So thank you very much, Drayton.
I call you brother, as we are brothers of the pen. Our copywriting father, so to speak, was David Ogilvy. Our great-grandfather was Claude Hopkins. Our great-granduncle, Albert Lasker. Our copywriting family tree includes John Caples, Gene Schwartz, Gary Halbert, Bill Bernbach, Leo Burnett, Robert Collier, and a host of related uncles, cousins, in-laws, and outlaws, all of whom have shared a fascination with and lifelong dedication to our craft. I believe I channel the sentiments of this entire colorful family tree when I express our profound admiration and affection for you, one of the greatest practitioners of our craft that our fraternity has ever known. For those of us lucky enough to be your contemporaries, you've shared your rich experiences with great generosity and have taught us so much. I hope you will keep doing so for many years to come, Drayton.
As I've told you many times, you've been an inspiration to me for nearly 35 years in this crazy lunatic business. I've learnt so much from you, and I still do. I'm your biggest fan and regularly use your wisdom in my copycat articles, as you know, and in masterclasses around the world. In fact, you may remember a few years ago in Eastern Europe when you came into my presentation, you and Marta, and I referred to you on that day to the audience there as the world's greatest living direct marketer. Because that's what you are, pal.
And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video, even though we don't know each other very well, is that we not only have a lot of mutual friends, whether it's Gary Bencivenga or Ken McCarthy or Denny Hatch and many others. I've been a huge admirer of yours for so many years. You and I are actually very simpatico when it comes to things like multi-channel marketing and the right message to the right list. And a lot of the things that I teach are things that you've been teaching longer than I have, although I'm no spring chicken myself.